Welcome to Friday Fun Day. As we look forward to the weekend, we can find ourselves looking for something new. You are invited to join us here at a place of faith where each week we offer a new idea or perspective for you to consider. We at a place of faith are delighted to share the path of spiritual enlightenment and the evolution of consciousness with you. Our intention is to share content with you that encourages interest and expands the horizons of your journey. Our mission is to create a safe place to explore and develop personal spiritual connections and relationships. Our vision is the joyous, loving acceptance of all people as an expression of divine spirit in the ongoing evolution of consciousness to oneness. All are welcome here.
Hi. Well, it's Friday again, and we are so happy to hopefully help you have a great weekend. And let's start by making Friday a fun day. I don't know how it is where you are, but where I am, it's getting cold. And that always makes me think about the holidays. And that always makes me think of favorite traditions for the holidays. Have you ever wondered how some of these traditions started? Well, I started wondering about mistletoe. I don't know if you're familiar with the tradition, but when I was growing up, it was our tradition to hang mistletoe in one of the doorways in the house. And the tradition behind it was anytime two people met, so you did it at a party or something, you would kiss underneath the mistletoe. And if somebody said no, they didn't want to kiss you, that would be bad luck for them. Of course, if they said yes, then it could be the beginning of something very wonderful. So, how on earth did that tradition start? Mistletoe, it turns out, is a semi-parasitic plant, meaning it's spread usually through bird droppings. How romantic, right? And when the bird poop hits the top of a tree, the plant will take hold on the bark of another tree. So it uses the already established tree to get its nourishment, its water, and it's usually high up, so it gets plenty of sunshine. When I was growing up, we called it mistletoe, but I think it was really holly with the green leaves and the little red berries. Mistletoe has dark green leaves and little white blossoms, just so you know if you're getting the real stuff or not. Mistletoe around the first century was used by the Celtic Druids, the Druids that came from the area we now know as Ireland and Scotland. And they thought that mistletoe was very mystical, that it could cure all poisons, and that it would help with the births of animals. If you ingested mistletoe, if you got the animal to eat the mistletoe, they were more likely to have multiple births. So it would increase their prosperity, their abundance using mistletoe. So the Druids of the day had a tradition that on the sixth night of the moon, I don't know why it was the sixth night, the Druids would dress in white, and two of the Druids would take a sacred knife and climb up the tree and actually cut the mistletoe out of the tree, and they would drop it down to the Druids waiting below, also dressed in white. And you didn't want to let the mistletoe touch the ground, so they had to catch it. It was a part of the ritual. Then they would take two white bulls and they would tape their horns. I don't know the reason behind that. And they would actually slaughter the bulls in their tradition of let me see, I've got the name of it. That was the ritual of oak and mistletoe. You wanted to cut the mistletoe out of the oak. This particular tradition was so bloody and gruesome that the Romans decided that Druids were bloodthirsty pagans and they kind of made war on them. So the Druids had to go underground with their practices and their traditions because of this particular one. In Norse, Norse mythology, the goddess Fig had a son murdered with a mistletoe arrow. Now, in that tradition, mistletoe was a symbol of love and peace. And when her son, the god Baldur, Baldur, I'm not sure I pronounced that right, was murdered, the queen, the goddess Fig, was so distraught that she commanded that mistletoe would kiss anyone who passed beneath it, so long as it was never again used as a weapon. I'm not sure how much wood there is in a mistletoe plant, but that was from Norse mythology. I'm having trouble with that word. So, how did it go from all that to being a tradition in our own house, in our own homes, whether we have that tradition or not? Perhaps you've heard of it. It turns out in the 18th century in England, where the first Christmas trees were actually brought in by royalty, the tradition was that you would put mistletoe up and anyone who passed under it would be kissed. Now, I also looked up the tradition of Christmas trees. I love Christmas trees, but really, we go out into the woods or to the store and buy a tree and bring it into the house? That seems unusual to me. So I looked that tradition up as well. And a Christmas tree or a Christmas bush, usually evergreen, was a tradition of winter solstice. And the idea was at winter solstice, when the year changes and the days finally become longer, you brought something green and alive into the house to celebrate the promise of spring to come, the promise that the snow would go away and life would come in, and the whole house would smell alive, just like it does when we use evergreens. When they first decorated Christmas trees, and again, that started with the British Queen, they used candles, and it was kind of a dicey affair. They developed some really interesting candle holders. But it wasn't until the 18th century that they began the tradition of mistletoe. And the big piece of mistletoe as a holiday ritual is as the new year gets ready to begin, sometimes a new romance, a new love, or a renewal of a standing love was the way to start the new year. So that's a lot of different stories about mistletoe. I certainly hope that we added some fun to your Friday, made it a fun day and a great start to the weekend. Remember, you matter. You are sacred and you are so loved. Namaste.
Follow us on Facebook for daily meditations, prayers, and all of our videos. If you know of anyone anywhere who is struggling with spirituality or who wants a spiritual community, please share our videos. Commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing are also ways to support us and help us grow. Reverend Linda is available by phone, Facebook Messenger, or Zoom conference for spiritual and ministerial counseling, guidance, and direction on a love offering basis. She can be reached through A Place of Faith at sohomail.com or through Unity Church of El Cajon. A Place of Faith is sponsored by Unity Church of El Cajon at 311 Highland Avenue, El Cajon, California, 92020. You can send donations there. Just put APOF on the check, or you can also contact us through our website at www.unityofelcajon.org and make your donations on the website. Thank you for your support.